is Sex. I'm Tasha Ray.
And I'm Taro, and today we back for some bullshit, people. It's Friday. I'm feeling, so we're gonna have some fun.
Hey y'all, grab your drinks. So today's guest is joining us all the way from Portugal. Welcome to the show, Cinnamon.
Hey, boo.
So why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Okay. I'm a digital marketer from Washington, D.C., left the U.S., moved to Europe about 3 years ago. And so that's life right there.
Since leaving,
yes.
Do you feel like there's a difference in how men approach dating overseas than how they do in the States?
So I think there's two different experiences. There's the experience when you are just visiting, which I felt like was always a blast because you are popping into different countries, randomly trying to connect or go to places and see new things. So I feel like men are just, open and want to show you, around and that type of thing. And then when you live there, I feel like it's a completely different vibe because you get to learn more about the person. But what does that mean? Like, someone can fake like they're this amazing person when you just visit and then you there for like, a couple days or a week.
Yeah.
But when you live here, like you can find out, oh no, he's actually married and he has 3 kids or, like, so
they doing that over there too? Oh no.
Listen, this is the thing I keep trying to tell people. Men are still men. It doesn't matter what country they're in, they're still men. You know what I mean? So there's a couple nuances, but I don't know. I mean, we're still dealing with men.
Like, it's interesting because I think that what I've learned is clearly the amount of secret families across the pond just they all over the goddamn place. And not only do I not have the time, I also have no money. So how am I supposed to take care of 2 families?
It's not even across the pond. Like, even when we were growing up, some of you had a whole nother family like down the street. You don't even need no pond.
Very real. Yeah.
So it's definitely a different dynamic. I will say that internationally, not just, dating, but people experiencing other cultures is more normal. You typically going to find someone who speaks like 3 or 4 languages, even though, you might speak your American one. So those types of things I found to be, really interesting and enlightening on that aspect. So I do feel like in some cases, your caliber may be a bit different, but you still got to get through the woods of the BS still, internationally or local or whatever. But then once you kind of weed through some people that you might think like, it's not just they're all about work, which, in the States, that's kind of, what we're stereotyped as being. But there is a lot more of like getting to know you and your personality, your culture, because it's so much more multicultural outside of the U.S.
Yeah.
U.S. We try to say we're diverse, but we're diversely segregated. Let's be real. So you find much more of that experience, and to me, I think that's super cool. So yeah.
All right, Sam. So do you feel like, in a relationship, do you prefer traditional gender roles?
Like what?
Meaning, do you kind of subscribe to the man is out making the bread, the woman is at home kind of in the kitchen?
I mean, I can be relatively versatile. I just need to know what the game is, what the gig is up front. Like, you know what I mean? But I feel like the thing that stresses me out is like, if you say you want this independent woman who's a hustler, who makes her own money, all this, and you still want her to cook, clean, like all of those, it's just like, well, dude, so what you doing again? Like, you want me to bring in the money and all of the traditional female roles? I don't have a problem doing that. It's whatever, but at some point you're just gonna have to let me know what your position is, and if it just is existence, then we got a problem.
I think it's interesting because from a gay male perspective, I feel like, okay, so if your man extra fine, that's cool, right? Like the body is right, the body is tight. But realistically, girl, where does he work? Because if I ain't working, if he ain't at work, then yeah, he can be in the gym for 7 hours every day, making sure that body is right and tight. But you just ain't gonna show up to me with that. And then I still need a paycheck because I have no money. So you ain't coming to me if you're looking for money because I don't have it. But you have it, which is why I'm coming to you. So I just, be warned that we need an I-9 signed because the you got to pay your taxes. All right, go ahead, Tasha.
Oh my God. Okay, so if you were already married and you met someone you felt like was your actual soulmate, would you stay in the marriage?
How long am I married? Am I already unhappy in the marriage and I'm about to go anyway?
You're not unhappy, but you just feel like
no. If I'm not unhappy in my marriage, if I committed to this dude, I'm gonna commit to him. I will leave a situation on my own merit before I would introduce another relationship in there. Like that's too much pressure for me. I'll just roll out.
I don't know. All these today, everybody want to like add people to the shit. Like sister, what? How come they don't have like what's the equivalent to a sister wife? A brother, husband? Like, how come they don't? How come we never hear about?
I don't know if a lot of men can deal with their woman being emotionally and physically with another dude that they know and see that dude. You know what I mean? I don't think men can handle that. I think, which is probably why you don't hear about it or even know what the hell the name is for the men version of it. But I think with women, I think in some cases women are just, not all, but in some cases women just want to keep the dudes, so they just may tolerate some things. But men don't even really like knowing who your ex is, and if that dude was taller than him or had a bigger situation than him, they don't want to know that. So you mean they gonna let you just roll up? I mean, some do it, I get it, but vast majority, I think, I don't think they sign up for that. I could be wrong, but
I actually think it's pretty interesting. I feel like younger Terrell was all about, yeah, I want to know everything about your ex and like tell me, specifically what his social is so I can scam him. But I wanted to know all this info, but I never understood how much that also contributes to my own insecurity. Because then when I start thinking about like, oh well, you can't like me because I'm not 6'6" and your ex was 6'6" and then I'm like, oh well, maybe I don't. Why am I? We don't even 8 + 8 don't equal 19. So it don't. The answer is no. Mind you, there are just certain things that I feel like you don't really need to know. So why are you concerned about that? Specifically, if it was before you, everything is fine.
Yeah.
He ugly anyway. So does the amount of time that you wait to have sex with the person, say you wait a while, or maybe you don't wait a while, do you think that contributes to the success of the relationship?
Really, I really feel like it's, it's on the person. I mean, I feel like there's some people that are wired that, once they get it, they're not motivated anymore. And there's some people that it doesn't matter. For me personally, sadly, I've always kind of been like savage, like in the dating process as a woman, because I'm not really emotional. So I'm walking in with what I want. So if I find you attractive and if that's what I wanted to do that day, then that's what I rock with. If I don't, I never process like, well, oh my God, what does he want? Like, oh my God, does he like me? Like, I just never been wired that way because I could care less. Like I can be, if I am attracted, it's usually because mentally they just pulled me. And I'm an Aquarius, so part of that is probably my issue. But if you pulled me mentally, then I'm like, oh, okay, sir. Like that's okay, But other than that, I usually think most people are idiots. So I'm usually turned off in a matter of like minutes. And if I do want to sleep with you, I don't want you to talk to me afterwards or no even attempt to like go away. So. Oh, sorry. That was kind of how it was.
I can't stand y'all Aquarius people. Why y'all like that?
I know it's terrible. I listen, if there are women who are listening to this and you are dating an Aquarian man,
sorry for you
should probably go. Like you should probably leave immediately. I think the only benefit is because I'm a woman, that my lack of clinginess and not giving the hell, men find that attractive or think they're like, oh, she wants me to change them. No, I'm not interested. No, I'm not interested. It's not that I want you to chase me. I just really don't like you as an individual. And for some reason, they find that attractive. What's weird? I don't know. Something they need to go to therapy for. Yeah, we're not wired very emotionally. I mean, so I shouldn't say that. I feel like we feel like the greater good of like society and the world. But if as a man, I feel like being the woman of an Aquarius man, you want to feel like he's about you and he's more like for the people. Not to say he's sleeping with people. He's just like a man of the people. Like Oprah and I share the same birthday. This chick ain't got married. She got a whole ass man that they've been rocking with, and she ain't never married him. But her life has been about the people. You know what I'm saying? Like it's been about, so if you were the woman of an Aquarius dude, you got to be a very secure woman and know that him not doing whatever doesn't mean he wants to sleep with all these other women per se. Now there are them, but for the most part, it's just like they just want to be weirdly. It's terrible. I'm sorry to all the women dating Aquarian men. My apologies. My hat goes off to you, and I hope that you will just don't spend your life waiting on an Aquarius dude. You should not do that at all. You shouldn't even do it on an Aquarian woman, to be honest. Shouldn't do it on us either. But specifically for Aquarian men, you shouldn't. You should probably just have a deadline to say, if this doesn't progress to this level, you should probably go.
Yesterday when on WhatsApp, I decided to text my personal hitman, meaning the man with the gun who I give money to do things. And on the very top of that list is an Aquarian man in New York City. And personally, I told him to make it look like an accident. But you know what's fucked up about it all? It's because right now he's kind of like negging me. And I'm also like, but maybe he do love me. But he don't, which is why.
No, they never do.
They never. Come on, don't say they never. Like it takes them. It just takes a minute, and they're not
decades?
for
centuries?
Huh?
Years.
So in my opinion, I feel like Aquarian people are not necessarily super into materialism heavily.
Right. Yeah.
So they're super into like intellect, and sometimes they just get fascinated with a lot. Like they can get fascinated by some random man who's on the bench and just started talking about his life from 80 years ago. And I will miss the whole series of meetings because we got enthralled by this man and his life mission. It's stupid. But so here's a disadvantage, and not to make this an Aquarius conversation, but the disadvantage that you have in men in general is that some of them don't want to feel like they're tied down, and definitely not Aquarian men. So it's like a double-edged sword when you're dealing with Aquarian men. So as a woman, I don't like feeling that way either. Like I will tie it down for somebody I rock with, but if I'm rocking with you, I have analyzed your ass to the T. So you got to know that if I'm a rock with you, you ain't got to worry about nothing because I've already analyzed the hell out of you. And that's sadly, even with my friendships, but I also feel like because of that, because I've overanalyzed them, I can put another friend with a friend they never meet before and know they in a safe space. You know what I'm saying? Like you ain't never going to be in any situation with my people and feel like, oh, I don't like her or I don't like the way she look at me. You'll never experience that because that's just not my vibe. And I feel like that's the good part. And if you're dealing with an immature Aquarian dude who's not able to articulate that to you, because I feel like the issue is that they don't say it. Like, men, when I say it, they think I'm lying. I'm like, I don't even like you as a person. And they're like, you can't mean that. Like when I don't like people as a person, I don't even talk to them. And I'm like, and this is in my younger days, I've settled down. But then I'm like, I just like sleeping with you, but I think you're a horrible individual. And they're like, she can't mean that. And I'm like, but I said it. Like, why do you think I don't mean it? Have you met you? You're terrible, actually. So I feel like with men, they weirdly think a woman's like they think I'm playing. And with I guess with men, they can't Aquarian, they can not necessarily able to be honest because women are traditionally, more sensitive about it. And so maybe that's why they don't communicate. So
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, not trying to make this about Aquarians, but again, if you're dating Aquarian, like good luck. Or just don't think about them. I mean, that sounds horrible, but just let them, they hit you. If we interested. Like everybody, I feel like some people may lie and try to have a whole bunch of people interested, but because we are so enthralled with the minute details of life, so that we don't have the time to do a whole bunch of stuff. You know what I mean? Like if he say it, he probably rocking with it. Just don't do it. There's so many other signs you could be a part of.
Ooh, child. Just a big ball of stress right there. Whew. A lot of work. Let's switch gears. So,
okay,
when is the appropriate time to talk about finances in a new relationship?
In a new relationship? Hold on. What are you defining as relationship? Like we go together?
We are
we just
at
date?
that stage where we were talking, we like each other, we want to graduate to the next stage, so we're going to be committed. Me and you, we in this thing.
I feel like you've already gotten red flags and things and stuff has been told to you that you can listen to and know, oh, hell nah. I feel like you should know that in the first week.
Ooh, about finances?
I'm not saying that you need to know like this is how much money you got in the bank, but you can easily see people's spending habits if they overindulge in this area or they really flashy, maybe they need high end. You can see how they want to live their life. And then you could say, you probably know what someone's profession is, and you can do some reverse engineering and be like, well, what the hell are you? You know what I mean? If you out every day, you can't, because there's certain things you can't do at the same time. You can't like run a business, be out in the streets every night and have a large stock portfolio. Like something usually, because people who make money, they work a lot. I don't know why people feel like that you ain't got to work, but just money just comes to you. But if people who make the money and they making that grind, they work a lot. And so, if you feel like you out here, frolicking in the streets all the time, chances are your bank account look like trash. I mean,
it's so funny that you say that because I literally just said yesterday about someone specifically that I was dating. It's like one thing that I actually enjoy about him because he does make a lot of money, but that motherfucker is so busy. He don't have time to do nothing else. So yes, we eat when we go out to eat. We the last people to get to the restaurant because he's working all day. And I'm not mad because that's also how this meal is getting paid for. So I don't have a care in the world at this point.
Yeah. I don't think I've had any formal discussions unless I say, my most recent situation, we were talking about we need to build trust and, get, investment accounts and stuff like that. So that's why the conversation came up. But I feel like you can see what a person, how they maneuver financially. In like if you just pay attention to the small things that it drops. I really don't feel like people put a front for the most part. Now, granted, there are people who are sociopaths, and those people are good at it, and there we have it. But for the most part, most people know disrespect, but they're not smart enough to be able to give you a whole different person every time. I just feel like sometimes we're caught up in wanting to see things this one way, because if you ask your friends, they were like, oh, I hated him day one. Well, how did you hate him? And it's just like they saw it because they didn't have the level of connection that you felt like and how you painted the situation. But for the most part, sociopaths excluded, most people show you who they are up front, even when they try real hard not to. I mean, I feel like the clues are there. I don't need to know what's in your bank account. I just need to know about your behavior. If I can't trust it, if we have money collectively that you're going to be out in these streets or buy a new car and you ain't talk to us or go do all these things because that's how you do in general, that's how you move in your situation, then that doesn't really make me feel safe. But you see unsafe spending practices before you even commit to them, in my opinion.
No, I think that's true because it's like, because I feel a few ways about it. Because I think that in in the past, I've always thought that I'm not really worried about finances until those are applicable with my habits, meaning I'm not worried about what you have in the bank until we decide that we're going to sign on this home together, or before we decide that we're going to take out this loan together. And then I'm like, all right, let's sit down and break down, what's happening, assets, debt, before we decide to go buy the new Ford F-350 with the package, because I want it with the 22-inch rims. But
what if that's too late? What if that conversation happens after you're a year in and you realize this person has terrible credit, this person is in so much debt, this person is not in a position to help you buy some shit? Like, you gonna be helping them buy the shit because they can't do it on their own.
Well, to speak to what Sin just said, I think that that's something you kind of should notice. Now, it's one thing for him to be completely bamboozling you, right? You're getting dined, he's buying you all the things, you have all the bags and things, and then you find out that, oh, he don't really have it. That's one thing. But I also think that is, like she said, if he at the club every weekend buying bottles, you get a text message that be like, hey, I need you to help me pay an application fee on this apartment. And I'm like, your application fee was that sparkler and the Ace of Spades that just came in. I don't understand how you ain't got it. So I think that it's something that you definitely have to pay attention to. I don't pay attention to it famously. But I also don't really get in too many situations where I have to be observing somebody's finances like that.
Yeah. I feel like, that's like you taking things to another level. But just like, even if I'm dating someone and he's the dude who, like, I'm just not the chick who needs to be at like fancy hotels and doing all that. So now you're going to irritate me when I'm traveling, because now I got to worry about your high maintenance ass. You know what I'm saying? So even with that, there's certain things you're just going to end up learning about the individual, like, they're always having to be flashy or show people that, they made it, or they need the expensive cars. Not saying anything's wrong with that, but you got to understand how you fit in that and what's your vibe. Like, have I dated guys with nice cars, big houses, make money? Yes, but I also found a lot of those dudes don't have much of a personality. And so when it comes to just being like their core internal, and I'm on my hippie shit, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like a fake ass hippie. So I want to know like how you feel about various current events. So just in general, and are you nice to waiters and like those type of things? And so money aside, I feel like people's personal character, they make that they make that pretty obvious very early. I was usually in something for either 2 weeks or 2 months. That's usually as long as I last. I usually never lasted longer. After that, I was like, I don't want to be here no more. I'm gonna go. But that wasn't even about money. That was just like so many other things. But if you talking about attaching your cart to this horse, you want to know if there's some other things. Money is definitely important, but some people's internal core just sucks. Like, even with living abroad, it's so interesting because, with living out in Europe, the main question women ask are like, so how's the dating? And on one hand, I kind of get it, because like men exist everywhere. Like they don't just exist in like one area. They exist everywhere. So you're not asking, are men there? Because you know that. You're not asking, well, are they nice to me? You're just saying, how's the dating, to a person that you don't know, and you don't know how they're dating. You know what I'm saying? So I never know what to do with that question, because your dating could suck because you're an asshole. Like, it may not have anything to do with your location. You may not even be a good friend to your female friends, to your male friends, and you're thinking you don't have anybody because of your location. That's hilarious. No, you suck. And that is why you don't have anyone. So, okay. So with that being said, a lot of people are having issues dating in a variety of different states, so even international aside, right?
Yeah.
So I think there are a bunch of caveats. I think it's going to get harder and harder, sadly, because there's a lot of extra things that exist that didn't exist like when I was going, like social media. Like, how are people dating in the age of social media? I have no idea
Bad. It's
how people are doing it. And so everyone's in this constant comparison of, is this woman better than what this woman could be that I don't even know? Exactly. Or is this man better than, so you have this weird thing. And there is a population of people that just, because they see you in social, they almost get starstruck, and you're a regular ass person. And so then even the tensions aren't real there. So exactly. It is known for major cities for singles to have issues dating. That's just what that is, right? Because I know if my ass lived in Atlanta before Atlanta became Black Hollywood, but if I would have moved to Georgia like a long time ago, I probably would have had 3 kids, a husband, and be 450 pounds. You know what I mean? Like, that's just what my destiny would have been if I would have moved down south, right? So city life gives you options. Sadly, it gives you options in dating. It gives you options in things to do. It gives you options in your career. It gives you a whole bunch of things that can compete for your time. And so just the character of city life is those options where, down south or other places, the expectation is you go to school, you get married. That's not really the expectation in city life. You know what I'm saying? People in the city, even if they're not from there, they've gravitated there because, what city life gives.
So attractive, yeah.
I mean,
it breeds a different group of people. Like, not to say people outside of the city aren't ambitious and stuff like that, but if you make it in the city, you gotta hustle. You gotta make the money. You gotta grind just to keep an apartment.
And it's interesting that you say that, because I think I learned that while I was living in DC, but I have really learned that
now, right? Like, New York is a different
goddamn city. Lesson. When people say if you make it in the city, you can make it literally anywhere. Mm-hmm. You can make it anywhere, because it's some whole other shit going on up here, and it's like shit that I didn't even see coming. Mm-hmm. And it's stuff that is. It ain't all bad. It's just like, God damn, stuff in this city is so unnecessarily hard. And I've been like this, and then you multiply that by the grocery stores are the size of my bedroom, and the train has 400 people on it, and it ain't air conditioned. And so it's like, what am I supposed to do?
But then what it makes you do? It's like you have to determine what make it means. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is make it in your life? And I feel like that was kind of the crossroads I was having just living in America. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was, I'm a DC girl, born and raised, and then that didn't feel right all the way. Like, it's got to be more than just working. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be more than meeting someone and getting this facade of like how they're so amazing. And, it has to be more than that. And then just when traveling, it's just like, so it feels different outside of America. Okay. So then you go to different countries like, oh yeah, no, I'm signing up for this. I'm gonna roll out. And the thing of why, one of the reasons why I like about Portugal in general, and I feel like this is part of it, certain parts of Europe, it is a very passionate country. Like, wherever you go, somebody is sucking face with someone else. Like, they are like, even when I was on the train today going downtown, and there's this, couple together, and he just took her hat off, and he just buried his whole face in her hair and just like kind of like marinated there for the train ride. And I was just like, so beautiful. It's just, it's a lot of love here, even in the way that they greet them, greet people, it's two, kiss on each side. Like, it's just a very traditionally, sensual, sexual, just love, touch, feel type of culture. And it's Italy, France, like, there are various parts of Europe. It's just like, we're gonna touch. Like, and so, in cultures where it's just like work, something gonna fall through the cracks. Your interpersonal relationships may not be that great. Now, your quantitative evaluation is awesome. You make great money. You doing these things. You got this stuff. But your qualitative skills are horrible. Like, you suck. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know how to communicate. You don't know how to be mature. When you don't think of other people's feelings. You're not affectionate. You're detached. Keep going. So, I mean, here's the thing that I feel like is a challenge, is that, as people and individuals, we want to know when we're doing a good job, and I feel like quantitative stuff was always so easy to know that you're doing well, because that number increases, right? Like if you ace the test, you got more money, you get the promotion, you get the bigger house. All of these quantitative things was very easy to measure if you were doing well.
Yeah.
Qualitative stuff, how do you evaluate that? And I don't think people are comfortable with feeling that they may suck in that area. You know what I mean? Like, and then if you do, now what? Like, you can't, like, what do you do now? I can't go get the promotion. I can't just go back to school and then get a master's degree and get better at my like, you know what I mean? So even if you know you suck, other than like therapy, which I think everybody should have, what do you do with your suck ass qualitative?
What I do is have a seat in oncoming traffic, because it's a wash.
If you're enjoying the episode, make sure you download Secrets of the Opposite Sex on Apple App Store and Google Play today and join in on the fun. Back to the episode.
All right, then, so I'm going to move on to the next question. Do you think it's appropriate? Do you find it appropriate to ever lie to the person that you're in love with?
Okay, so I've always been, queen of truth, and I don't care how you feel about it, right? But now, like, after loving somebody, did I always tell them the truth? I hate to sound so cliche. You can't handle the truth. So, but I mean, sometimes, so I feel like the times that I wasn't, not that I was out here lying, I just may have avoided it at that moment, right? And I was going to probably position it. But here's the problem with like empaths, right? And if you care about somebody, you end up being like empathetic to the person's feelings, hopefully, right? So damn it, that's where things get difficult. Sometimes, maybe they're too emotional to handle what I'm about to say, but it ends up coming out. I think I try to pick when that's going to happen. But I would say it and I would try to deliver it in a way, just like, you did this, right? Or I'll ask questions. I think I kind of do that anyway. So I ask questions like, because I know I ain't tripping, right? Are you aware you just did this? Yes. And so when you did that, how did you want me to feel? I didn't consider it. Okay, fine. Then I got to answer that. Before I go to honesty, I ask a whole bunch of questions to see where the person is and then be like, so that ain't seem crazy to you? Just help me understand that. That ain't seem weird? And they're like, no. And I'm like, so maybe you're crazy. You just...
Got it.
But yeah, when you care about someone, because here's the thing, you don't want people to going out there lying to you, like saying that it's cool to lie. But sometimes you just gotta find out when the delivery needs to happen.
So, as a fan of, the occasional tall tale, fib, white lie, all the other synonyms, they kind of come along with that. I'm probably lying about some dumb shit. Generally, it's like maybe you cooked dinner tonight and you prepared the shrimp creole and it was trash. And you served it up with some rice. And I was like, oh my God, baby, this was so delicious. But then I turned my plate over when I threw it in the trash, so you didn't really eat it. Now, realistically, it does me more harm than good by lying and saying that was delicious, because you probably going to make this again. But when you go soak in the bathtub for 45 minutes, as you like to do in the evening, I'm going to order some breadsticks because no. However,
here's the problem. Then you end up creating this bigger issue for yourself later. And then to the person, like, especially like me, and again, any other Aquarians, now we're wondering, like, can we trust the thing that come out your mouth? And that ain't the place you ever want your partner to be. Like, if your partner has to wonder if every time you open your mouth, if it's true or not, that's the issue. I think the constant thing that I heard with any dude I ever dated, they was like, listen, I know you ain't gonna lie to me. I know you want to tell me how it is. And if I know someone gets the truth, I'm gonna get it from you. And I think with all of this stuff, with people just blowing smoke up people's ass, truth is, highly respected and appreciated. You know what I mean? So I think sometimes the intent is important, because I think once people know, like, my intent is not to be an asshole, but I'm about to give you this, then if it's in a place of love, they're like, oh shoot, maybe I do need to check myself. And I'll say, like, you're a selfish individual. Like, I've told so many, like, you're selfish and you only think about yourself. And all of them are like, my mom told me that. Like it's like this random ass epiphany that whereas some other woman was like, well, I don't want to tell him that he's selfish. I just want to coax him. Like, no, but tell this dude use a selfish and self-centered asshole. Or tell this woman that she's only thinking about herself and what you could do for, like, tell whoever the truth, especially in dating.
Absolutely.
I'm like, yeah. So you doing yourself more harm than good. And then I think it does create, it creates trust issues later. If I gotta wonder if you who ain't gonna tell the truth all the time, I don't really want to know you. Like what do I need to know a liar for? Like it's just too much work.
Yeah, that's real.
Too much work. It's yeah,
I feel you. That's how I specifically feel like, especially like in friendships. Like if I can't be honest and direct and tell you my real opinion without you feeling like there's some other like intention behind my words, other than I want the best for you, I want you to be your best.
Right.
Oh no. Like
right. And if you're my friend or we're dating otherwise, and you somehow question that, out of everything you've known of me on some friendship stuff, then we probably don't need to know each other anymore. Like we need to probably just probably just need to I bid you in adieu. You know what I mean?
Because that is in turn you're questioning that person's character, like ulterior motives in telling you whatever they're telling you. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Listen, the only thing I have to say would be goodbye, farewell, avidase, au revoir, bye beach, bye Felicia, and however other iteration it matters, because I don't have time.
Good night.
I'm 30 now. Who got time for this?
Oh, you're just 30.
I know, like just like
hit me in my soul like, damn, bitch, you old. Damn, it's just 30. That's adorable.
What are your deal breakers, or what red flags would turn you off when you're getting to know someone during the dating phase?
My deal breakers are not, you don't treat people well. And I'm just like, because you can fake treating me well. Like you can try to wine and dine me, but if you're rude to the wait staff or you're rude to like just random people, those are massive red flags for me. Like I just don't like people who don't know how to treat people. Because then when the cards fall, you're going to be just as raggedy to me. Like I need to know you treat the janitor with respect. You treat everybody. I don't care what their position is. You know how to be nice to people. That's like a bare minimum baseline, but you'd be surprised at how many times people just don't, like they want to know who you are, what benefit you could be in their life before they would be nice to you or be good to you. And I'm like, that's a massive problem. So that's my deal breaker, not just romantic relationships, but if I like meet, a chick out, she's, I don't know her and she's trying to make friends. And if I see her, giving those types of vibes, I'm like, hey, I don't want to know you, girl. Like, that's my thing.
DC vibes.
And can I say something about my city real quick? Because I know everybody give DC so much heat. Here's the thing. If you meet people who were born and raised in DC, and I feel this way about people of Georgia as well, and California. Unfortunately, when it is a state or a city that people migrate to, it's the immigrants that end up fucking up the vibe. Like it's the immigrants that end up making it seem a different way because they're the ones that's out. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you went to college there and you went to high school there, you ain't out at the clubs. Like you may have something at your house and it's with people you went to high school with. And it's people you already know, it's people you work with. Like that's kind of how that is in every state. You know what I'm saying? If you know the people, but it's like when you move to a place, you have to be social because that's how you're going to meet people. And so people who move places, they tend to be out and more people tend to be weird. And so when you out meeting all these weird people, they assume it's of the city. And it's not. Like if you go to Georgia and you meet people who are born and raised in Atlanta and born and raised in Georgia, they are normal as hell. If you meet people who just moved to Black Hollywood, like they are weird. And they gave all of Atlanta a weird ass vibe. But people born and raised there are normal. People born and raised in California, normal. It is
I
just.
don't know, because all the men that I dated in DC were from DC, Maryland, or Virginia, and they were toxic.
And I'm biased because I say DC, Maryland, Virginia, they different.
I feel like DC might be the worst. Like, I feel like it's DC.
We do have trauma.
Maryland.
Not gonna lie, we definitely have some trauma, and it's weird. But when people say like they're very pretentious, that's typically not of people born and raised.
Yeah.
The people who are pretentious, because when people come to DC, New York, or whatever, they typically making more money than the people from the towns in which they left, right? So now they may be making six figures or whatever, and they feel like they've arrived, and a behavior may come with that, right? But if you're talking about somebody born and raised in DC, because I mean, the federal government has been the biggest employer in DC since the creation, regardless. So we grew up seeing educated Black people having professional jobs, even as children. So that wasn't all the way new for us, as it might have been only because of the federal government. If DC ain't had a federal government, it would be Baltimore. No disrespect, Baltimore, but you know the stereotype. It would be Baltimore. For sure. For sure.
It's funny to me.
Speaking of deal breakers and red flags, we're going to venture into my favorite portion of the segment, the red flag game. So basically what this is we're going to ask you a series of questions on whether or not this is a red flag for you, and you can delve deeper into them or go into story time if you feel. You ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. So is it a red flag if he is extremely frugal or tight with his money?
Is it a red flag? No, but it does cause for more investigation.
Okay, sure. I think I can agree with that in a way. Because when I think about something like that, I'm thinking about all the small stuff, right? So if I go to the Safeway and I need some aluminum foil, I want Reynolds wrap. That's what I want. It's thick, it's quality. You bought the Safeway band that rips in 5 minutes, and I want to know why. Because these apples ain't equal. So I need to know why you didn't choose durability over a Q-tip of foil. So
okay, what if they're this extreme? Because I actually had a grown man tell me this is what he did.
Okay.
And I was like, oh my God. And this girl's still dating you? So he's like, when we go to the club, I'm not buying no drinks. At the club, I'm not paying $10, $15, $20 for a drink. I'm not doing it. So what you're going to do is you're going to pregame in this car. But I'm like, what if I get thirsty while I'm at the place? I don't care. You're going to pregame in this car, and that's it. I'm not buying you no drinks in the club. That's not what we're doing.
I'm not all the way against that, though.
What?
That would be... I'm sorry. It wouldn't be a deal breaker for
me. You thirsty? You might be in there for a couple hours. That shit's going to wear off. You might want another drink. Might be a good drink. I don't know. But really?
So I got to get an ice water because you don't want to buy it? First of all, when I'm at the club, I'm here for two reasons. I'm either here because I want to hear the music, or I'm here because to drink. And if I'm at a place where the music ain't given, I'm gonna be drinking. So why else am I here?
What are we doing?
I don't mind pre-gaming in the car. Does that speak something to
me? Okay. But you're not allowed to buy a drink in the club?
But did he say not allowed? Like,
pregame.
That's a bigger issue. F the frugality.
I mean, but
don't you come up here and tell me what I'm not allowed to do at the damn club. That would be the issue I have.
That's part of the problem. That was
first off. Now, if you're just saying you want to be frugal, you don't want to spend all this money on drinks. I get it, because drinks in the club now are what, $80 now?
Basically.
On the table, like
they charge you $400 for Jack Daniels.
I'm not even mad at that. And for his real talk, if I want something, I'm getting my damn self. Like, let's be real.
That's what I'm saying, but I should have to. If you're my man and I'm thirsty and I want to drink, why is it a problem?
Okay. So here's the thing. Club, I can't relate. But if you tell me we at brunch, and I can't get my damn eggs, so I can't get my
whenever they're selling alcoholic adult beverages, and you're thirsty, and You better go to the car.
I don't always mind that because I get it. Like if the frugality is like, babe, you know, we on this investment stuff. We on it. I'm like, all right, babe, we'll ride with it. We'll pregame. I just feel like it has to be some give and take. Like if it's just you just cheap forever and we
yes.
Because if you cheap, here's the thing: if you cheap on everything, is when it's going to be an issue. Because I may be cheap on like hotels, which I am. But like on other stuff, like food, I'm gonna pay. If I want to eat it, I'm gonna eat it. I don't care what the bill is gonna be, but give me the food I want. Like, you know what I mean? So if I wouldn't say it's a red flag for me personally, unless this goes on every aspect of life. And if it does go on every aspect of life, and you're not telling me that your investment account looks great, or that your savings account looks great, or your IRA, your 401ks, your self-directed ain't right, and you just bitching over drink prices, then that's a different issue, in my opinion. But I ain't got no problem pre-gaming in the car. I'll do that. I'm the chick who'll go to the movies with you and have a full-fledged meal.
I mean, movies different. That shit is stupid. Like that's dumb. Like that's
right.
dumb.
Like I fully support that. Even as me, like I go to a lot of music festivals, right? And a fucking bottle of Corona is $18 at a music festival. So it's like generally I'm getting trashed before I get there. So that way maybe I don't have to buy 15 Coronas, I can buy 2, you know, to save myself some cash. Because the same thing with food. I'm gonna eat a whole meal before I get here because these nachos are $22 and who's spending that's some chicken breast.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
In a way, this economy going everybody need a flask. Shoot.
Literally. And I got alcohol in every crevice of this goddamn body. So it's getting snuck in.
That's not a red flag for me.
Okay.
What's the other red flag?
What if he introduces the idea of having an open relationship because the relationship is long distance? So he might get lonely sometimes.
So here's the thing. Because for me, is open relationship means we're just not in one. So if you cool with me fucking other dudes, I mean, yeah. If you cool with me sleeping with other men, then you can sleep. Here's the thing, if you're not mine, I could care less who you sleeping with. Like I think that was always confusing even in dating. If we're dating, I don't care who you sleeping with either. Because don't ask me to do something you ain't ready to do. That's just my whole thing in general. If you feel like you still want to sleep with people, have at it. You just telling me I could do the same. And if we want to connect, we can, or possibly, I don't know. But then that just mean you cool with me doing it. And in any situation where you ask me to do something that you ain't gonna do, then we not gonna know each other no way. That's the red flag.
I like it.
Is it a red flag for a man to be of a particular age and own no property?
It depends what you want to do with him. Like if you're saying this is someone you want to attach with and you want to have a future and you're of a particular age and there's no assets, meaning you don't have any, you know, cash and you just have your job, if something happens to you and you have a particular age and now you bankrupt because of your health condition, what are we supposed to do? And do I like you enough to care about that? You know what I mean? So it just, I mean, it depends on what you want to do with that guy. If you just, you know, hanging out, having a good time, catch him when you see him, then who cares? Who cares what you have? Like, just go for the quality you like and roll out. Male, female, indifferent. Like, I just don't believe, sound like a hippie again. I just don't believe that when you meet someone, you have to be in a relationship with them, even if you like them. Like, it frustrates me when men would meet me and be like, or do something to insinuate either they want to sleep with me or we need to be in a relationship. And I'm like, you ain't even know me long enough. We could potentially make some money together. You haven't even taken the time to realize why we were putting this like spear. It doesn't mean that we were supposed to date. You ain't even know if I like you yet. Like, just calm the fuck down. You know what I mean? So I just feel like sometimes the relationships you have with people can be fluid and different and concentrate on just being good to each other first. And then if that evolves into some type of relationship, cool. But that's not always what it's supposed to be. And I don't want that pressure. I don't want that because I met a man, we should automatically assume that we're supposed to date. Like, we can make money together, or you may introduce me to my soulmate, or we may just like each other's company. You can like someone's company of the opposite sex and not want to sleep with them.
I think you really said a mouthful with that, because that is definitely something that I have never considered. And I don't, I've never really looked at it that way, in a sense that it's like, just because I'm going out with you don't exactly mean that you are supposed to be this person. I think, especially in the world of online dating, I think that telling myself that I'm doing this with intention. But no, I think that's very interesting. I've never looked at it that way, because just because we hear, sharing the appetizer, that you ain't got to be the appetizer. Well, you're probably gonna be the appetizer if it's me because I'm a hoe. But it's usually what happens. But no, I've never thought about it like that. I think that's so interesting.
I think it takes a lot of the pressure from relationships, and it makes me have very quality relationship with men that I really enjoy. I like that company. We could be very honest with each other. Like, I mean, even when I was in DC, I rocked with it, a bunch of dudes, and it was great because we were just able to have this very organic relationship and you didn't have to feel like somebody was coming for you. And then if you needed something to be fixed or whatever, you had like a genuine friend that wasn't trying to be baby creepy. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's important to have those platonic relationships of people from the opposite sex from a variety of different reasons. And I think, I don't know what it is now. And just give me a minute. Like, it would just bother me so much when dudes just would go so strong. And I'm like, you're not going in strong because you really like me, because you don't know me. You know what I'm saying? So you doing this for some other reason. If you just fall back and be fucking normal for a little bit, then I can decide if I like you and if I want to sleep with you. You know what I mean? Or not. You know what I mean? Like, just give me a minute. And I would say, even the women, like, just because you meet a dude and he happen to say you pretty, don't mean that y'all need to date.
Because usually that's enough for me. Sometimes that's all I be needing. And, I may or may not be trying to have your kids. It just, that's just the way that I be operating. Because this little heart, listen, all right, I can't take a whole lot out here.
God, that sounds stupid.
It's a lot. I feel like it's a lot less pressure just in general and in life when you can just say, do I enjoy this person's company? Male, female, indifferent? Do I like being around them? Because then ultimately, just like it is with your platonic friends, like, I miss my platonic friends. I think about them. I can't care how they're doing. I'm not going to purposely try to shit on them. And I feel like because we don't even have a foundation of friendship on dating, that naturally you're not going to consider those things. And I remember I had to check a dude I was dating a while ago, and he would have this propensity to not respect my time. And I was like, and he kind of made these jokes like, you just come by when you try and get laid. And I was like, because you don't respect my time. And when I come at night, I know you're going to be here. So that is why. And he's like, what do you mean I don't respect your time? And I gave different instances. And he was like, he gave some excuses. I said, listen, you're a businessman. If you're going to be late to a meeting with a colleague or with a potential person, you will let them know you're going to be late. I know that about you. So you don't do that to me means you feel cool to not do that with me, and therefore you disrespect my time. So it's cool. I'm not asking you to do anything differently. I'm gonna come here, get late, and I bid you adieu. Okay. And you just give people show you how to treat them. And once you show me that I need to, even dodge or weave, and again, still respectful, I still have a great, admiration for the dude. I think he's super smart and all that stuff. Easy to person you should probably get a relationship. Not me. And I feel like if you can't get along with me, or I can't get along with you, you pretty fucked up, because I'm not asking for a lot. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even asking to be your girl. I ain't asked for that. I could care less about being your girl. I'm just asking to respect my time, the bare bar minimum. If you can't do that, then what are we doing this for? I'm not asking you to take me out and stuff like that, because I don't even like you that much. You know what I mean? So this is what it is. I know. I always think so horrible about that. I mean, like, you to it, like, are you the dude I would introduce my friends? Absolutely not. Yeah. Are you the dude I'm like, on accident, you might meet somebody because like we went to the store and they were at the store too. But I would not, because again, in my world, it's super important, platonic or romantic, that when you are in my space, you feel comfortable with everybody around, because that's the vibe we give. So if I know you disrespect my time, I ain't going to even let you come into the circle of the people I love and do anything that would disrespect anything of theirs. So I'm going to limit my interaction with you and I'll get what I get. And then I'm out. But it's still mad respect. It's no hate. And I feel like that's why some people are like, even going back to the whole international dating thing, that's how I dated in the States. So when people say, are you having a hard time dating? I'm like, no, I'm actually having a blast. You know what I mean? But that's because I don't, I see people, I see people's position and their roles and I act accordingly. You know what I mean? Like you see how people operate. You see, if someone's checking for you, you see it. Now you might like them more. So you want them to check for you, but that doesn't mean they were checking for you. So act accordingly.
Okay. So speaking like of, dating across the pond.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe men outside of, the States have a different outlook on sex or, I've
I feel
heard.
like Europe in general is
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah. So, so,
sexual.
so I've heard. So is being too sexually explorative a red flag?
When you say explorative, what does that mean?
I mean, you doing some things you wouldn't normally do. Like it's Europe. They like the hoes. If someone,
And when you say explorative, are you mean being like sexually liquid, like fluid, like you jump in a bunch of different situations? Like what are we talking about here?
they're doing other things other than vanilla, because like I feel like a lot of guys in the U.S. have no idea what a clitoris is, right? So
None, no clue. They have no idea where it's located. Okay. I'm glad you brought that up because that was the major difference I found dating in Europe. I feel like men, and so I feel like in the States, men know that it exists. Like they know we have one. And I think like other than them going down, that's really the only the only attention that will ever be played to it. And then I found out when I came to Europe, that was like the first like hello, and they've learned about it and they, do things with it that I was just and I remember being like, oh, that's what we doing off the break. You know what I mean? Okay. So that I'm glad you brought that up because I almost forgot about that. That was definitely a different thing that I ain't know nothing about. And I appreciate it, that they care about a clitoris here.
Yeah, because I was having a conversation with Tasha about how I feel like sex in the U.S. is such like a taboo thing. It's not particularly talked about. People really don't have conversations on how to please women or people's, you know, people's instructions on how to please a man may come from pornography or something stupid, right? Because we all know that pornography is for men and not women. Mm-hmm. So it's like when a lot of people are using that as kind of like this guidebook on how to please one another, all of that is so completely unrealistic. Mm-hmm. And so when you have, I feel like in other countries, you have it where people are willing to, go straight to the DJ booth or, they willing to jump off the top rope a little bit because they know a little bit more or because they are more affectionate versus I feel like in the US, most people aren't just because it's not talked about.
Yeah. I feel like there's so many reasons why we are sexually dysfunctional. I feel like there's so many. I feel like part of it is the lack of connection that we have in the States in comparison to, other countries, the intimacy connection. I think it is a lot of what you say in regards to our first introduction of sex. I think Europe in general is just they work to live instead of live to work. You know what I mean? So family and interconnectedness just seems so much more celebrated. Mm-hmm. And so because of that, I feel like people just genuinely want you to feel good, not even just sexually. If you come to my house, people are trying to feed you and they want to make sure you're having a good time. Like it's European culture is that when people come visit, they're not in a hotel. Like, what are you doing? Like it's almost an insult if you are not staying with me and you came to visit, you know what I mean? So I feel like because of that, that's kind of one of the reasons why things are a little bit more sensual. And then I think it's more, the expectation is that sex is an experience. That's great times. But I remember feeling like it was a drastic difference. And I think some of the drastic difference was also that I was dating in DC. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like DC is so job motivated than family motivated. And, city life in general, not to shit all around DC, but, I'm sure New York it feels the same vibes a bit. So it's harder. It's harder to connect with someone when you got your basic needs. It's just like a kind of struggle and a hard thing to get it. Like you got to work this amount of hours. You got to get overtime. You got to pay the car note. You got to pay childcare. Like the fact that people have cars and kids in the same household, I'm like, how the hell are y'all affording it? How? And so when you were rushing to just live life, I don't even know how you even had the energy to connect emotionally with all of that pressure. And that's like one of the reasons why I left. I was just like, dude, I'm tired. I don't know if I'm gonna be on this earth for another 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years. Like, so let me just roll out.
Yeah, I support that. I mean, even if I think one of the first things that I noticed, even traveling abroad is something as simple as going out to dinner is an experience, right? So I remember going to a restaurant and thinking like, why is this service so goddamn slow? I have been here for so long. And then I was with a friend of mine and he's like, no, we ain't in no rush. We're here. We're enjoying each other's time. We're talking, we're bonding. That's the point. It's like we ain't here to just have you in here for 15 minutes and flip the table. Like this is an experience. We're bonding, and I was like
3 hours minimum. I don't think it was ever a situation like even lunch. Like you ain't working. You there for 3 hours and you coming back, ain't nobody working. Like I was today. It was 4-hour event. Like yeah. And it's an adjustment, like you said, because so if you're coming, you're like, why won't they give me the check? Like, do they not, you getting all frustrated. It's like, that's not the culture. It's not the culture at all. Like you're going to be here for a minimum of 3 hours. Dinner takes 3 hours. Lunch, 3 hours.
Listen, one thing that we need to adapt here in this US of A is goddamn siesta, because a siesta is the greatest thing. Listeners, if you're unaware of what a siesta is, during certain hours of your day, businesses are closed, restaurants are closed. This is usually in between the times of, I don't know,
1 to
5,
3 or 5.
right? 1 to 3, something around afternoon time. It is time for rest and relaxation. R and R. I be needing my midday naps, so I'm gonna get my siesta regardless. However, we need that here because I would be a much happier person if I just the plan.
Don't that get done though? From living here, like you be wanting stuff to get done, and it does not because of that exact reason.
That is true, because you sent me the paperwork at 12:59 and I'm not picking it back up.
Months. You won't get it. You won't get your paperwork. I don't even know. Like I got a whole ass visa I got to renew, and I don't even know if it's gonna happen. Like
it's so funny.
There is definitely some downsides, but I think ultimately you just got to figure out. And I think that was like kind of the crossroads I was at. Like, what are you saying is important to you at this pinnacle part of your life? Like, is it quality relationships? Is it work-life balance? Is it having a child? Fun fact, in England, for those of you doing like trying to have a kid through like IBS, like apparently England pays for it. So I know it's like a $30,000 process in the US, but research it, Google it. But again, whatever your thing is, this speaks to your heart. And you're like, I really want this. If it's in your heart and you feel like you want it, that could be the shift that like your intuition is saying, hey, yo, go check this out before I take your life. You know, I'm not to be, you know what I mean? But real talk, you know what I mean? Sounds a little insensitive, but because we just don't know how long we're going to be here. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, if something feels heavy on your heart, it could be like, just go rock with it. You know, I feel like, as we get older, your intuition gets like quieter and quieter and quieter because you got so many other things competing. But then when you pull yourself out that environment you have nothing to rely on but your intuition. And the way that she started screaming, like she was screaming when I first left the country. I didn't know what she wanted me to do, but she was hollering at me. And it was very weird, you know what I mean? But you know, every day you wake up and it's the same thing. You get into this routine and nothing changes for years and decades. And sometimes you gotta shake it up. So go with what feels good to you, even if it's the relationship. Like, I feel like don't enter trying to make it something yet. Just have a good time. Do what makes you feel good. Like, do you want to just hang out and not see his face anymore? That's okay. It's all right. Or do you just want to go to the movies? And that's the whole thing. Like, if it's a dude you want to get to know, like, fuck it, I'll pay for my movie. I just don't want to go to the movie by myself. Let's have a good time. Next thing you know, that could evolve into something. Who the hell knows? But just do what you like, enjoy you, and whoever else is on for the ride, you know.
Okay. So, you know, in the same vein of, you know, being outside of the US where I feel, well, I mean, as we kind of address, niggas are still trash. However, I don't know if that trash is more open-minded than local trash. How I just feel like, you know, being exposed to so many different people from so many different cultures, you run across someone that may have practiced polygamy. And not, you know, he's not specifically asking you that he wants to do it, but is asking you maybe to keep that lane open. Are you considering that red flaggish? I think I know the answer to that.
No, I mean, again, I don't knock anybody who does it. I don't care, but like, I personally don't have enough energy to sleep with a whole bunch of different people. You know what I'm saying? And so if you're telling me you want to do that with a whole bunch of women, then that means I got to one up you, and I don't feel like it. There's so much pressure. I don't feel like finding somebody else to sleep with. So if you want to do that, again, if you want something open or any of that, you telling me that you cool with me doing that. And I'm just going, even if I'm not, I'm gonna say that I am. I'm like, yeah, what are you doing? I'm going on a date. I would always do that. I'd be dating and the dude would hit me up randomly, didn't give me no heads up. What you about to do? Go on a date. Oh. And like, what'd you need? I'd be in the house in my pajamas. I ain't going nowhere. And they're like, so what did you need something? No, I was just checking to see what you checking to see what I doing an hour before? Yeah. Okay. Look, I'll call you later.
Me personally would have been like, well, you enjoy that bitch then. You know, I hope her coochie fatter than mine. Like, I would have said something completely ridiculous because I would have probably been my little heart would have just been so broke.
But again, if you think it's about somebody at the last minute, and now you want their time, you only saying one of a couple things. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
So you can't be all the way mad at it. And then I'd be lying because I just don't feel like being bothered. And that never worked well. I can't say I don't feel like being bothered. What you mean you don't feel like being bothered? But if I tell you I got a date, that shuts you up real quick. And that's really all I wanted because I'm going to bed.
Literally. That shut my ass up.
But now I can't. Like, I got a whole ass dude now. So I got to like be considerate of things.
Okay. Okay, guys. So that was a good red flag round. I liked it. So now we've come to the part of the show where we give you the opportunity to ask us a question that we must answer. So what you got for us?
So my question to you, Tasha, let's say you were dating the man of your dreams, right? Everything is great, everything is cool, and then later on you find out that they have a kid that you didn't know about. What do you do?
That's crazy. Like, ooh.
What if he didn't know? What if he didn't know?
I mean, that's one thing. That's one. Okay. Him not knowing is one thing. Like, I can't blame you for something that you had no knowledge of.
Right.
Like, we would handle that. But if you knew you had a whole entire child this entire time and you said nothing to me, it's a wrap. Because that's crazy. Like, that's ultimate deception.
So you already in love.
Well, I'm gonna be out of love then. That's not gonna work.
Interesting. Okay.
Because that's ultimate deception. Like, and who lies like about a child?
Or who?
And if you lie about a child, that feels like you will lie about anything, and that's scary to me. That's some real low lows, and if you can get that low.
So what if he gives you the whole thing? Listen, I just didn't want you to leave and and all this stuff. Is what? No.
I'm still gonna leave. So what you do? Okay.
I just feel like that's such a like a child is such a big part of your life. So
Yeah.
if that was something you felt like you had to lie about, you will lie about anything.
Anything.
Yeah.
And what if we had a child together and you moved on and you did that same shit? Because I know you're capable of it now. Like, no.
So here's the thing. You know how when you're dating someone, the obvious red flags is pretty easy to say, oh no, I'm not dealing with this person anymore. But it's that middle level stuff I'm personally finding is a bit of a challenge. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not beating you. You may realize that they, doing something else. It's still a bit bizarre, but it's like, damn, am I supposed to leave off of this? You know what I mean? Like maybe they're a hothead or they're aggressive or maybe, I don't know, whatever your thing is. I feel like it's super easy when the red flags are very bright and red and you could be like, oh, I'm not tolerating this. This is crazy. But then when it's like some other stuff, it's just like, damn, oh, well, maybe it's not them. Or maybe it's like their mama crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you're gonna have to deal with her for the rest of your life. And when she get old, she gonna live with you because your mama's like, what do you do in those when the flag is not red? It's just like orange.
I mean,
what do you do?
I think that specifically when I'm in love with someone, I think that I'm a lot more understanding in a sense that a lot of those things, I think I've learned that those issues aren't as black and white as I would have saw them to be from the outside. So like I'm willing to work between those lines of like, all right, I'm usually willing to deal with, yeah, your mama get on my nerves, but you're a mama's boy. So I kind of gotta I'll deal with most things because everything ain't always what it seems. Like the same way that I felt about your mama prior, that I probably didn't give two shits about your mama before I was in love with you. But now that I have to be considerate that she want her Eggo waffles in the morning. And so, if I decide that I want to be with you, I gotta deal with that.
I think I felt that way initially. And now it's like, so when is the point between you losing yourself? Like it's something, okay, your mom, she not there, but just whatever this thing is, that it's like, is it when you feel like you're compromising who you are or you're always exhausted? Or when is it and you're like, I don't think this is good for me?
Well, in that situation specifically, I feel like it's a conversation with you and your person. Like if it's something outside that your person's not doing, he can't control who gave birth to him. It's not his fault. But what he can control is, or what he can create is boundaries for his mother. So if there are certain things that she's doing or things that make you uncomfortable and you communicate that to him and he's taking that into consideration and doing what he can within his power to make sure you're comfortable and you're taken care of, you're good as much as he can, because I know it's a fine line, your mom and you but if I feel like he's doing the best that he can to manage the situation, I'm okay with that because you can't control, you can't pick, you can't choose family.
Okay, so let's say it's not your mama. Let's say he may be an alcoholic, functional alcoholic. He don't see himself as an alcoholic. And when you met him, you knew that he drank. I'm just pulling this example. You knew that he drank, but you didn't know he was an alcoholic. And now you realize, oh no, you're an alcoholic. So I'm sure if you're in love with someone, you're probably going to tolerate this for a little bit, however long that is. And then what? Or not even alcoholic, because they're not hurting you. They're not being mean to you. Or let's say they are addicted to porn. You know what I mean? Whatever their thing is, and it's not hurting you, but you're like, well, this shit it's a bit much. Like it's a bit much. Like, how do you operate?
Those things aren't directly hurting you, but at some point, like for me, if behavior can graduate, like if it can worsen, it can get to the point where it may. Like he may lose control. He may start drinking a whole lot more than he was when you felt like, alcoholic. And it might get where he might become aggressive. So he potentially hurt you. So if I feel like the behavior is getting to new levels, like we just okay,
Mhm.
we can't, especially if I'm telling you exactly how I feel and I'm concerned about it, and it's not something that you're taking into consideration or taking seriously.
Mhm.
Ooh.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
feel like that's the hard part. Because like, how long? If you know someone has the issue, and I guess you want to give them time to adjust to fixing the issue, it's like how long you wait? How, you know what I mean? Like you love
No,
them.
that's true. I think I think the way that I look at it is I'm down with give you the time to fix the issue, but and although you aren't directly hurting me, you're hurting you, and I'm
Mhm.
watching you hurt you. So
Okay.
now that's hurting me, right? Because
Mhm.
this is you calling out of work because of this, or you like
Mhm.
not showing up to meetings, or this is I'm watching this affect your real life. So
Mhm.
yeah, sure, you ain't got to be whooping my ass or being
Mhm.
aggressive with me.
Mhm.
To me, that's those small things that I'm seeing, like you waking up too late or whatever because you was wilding the night before, is like that is I can't go past there because
Yeah.
I can try to be as supportive as long as I can, but eventually I got to get off that ride because
Mhm.
that's exhausting for me. And I feel like there's only so much support that I can offer you from that point.
Yeah, and I think I guess you can be supportive and not necessarily be with the person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because
Yeah.
I can definitely be your, well, I'm not your sobriety partner, baby. Don't come over here if you're trying to be sober. Not over here, baby, because it's giving turn up at the door. So don't come over here with that. But you know what I'm saying? If you wilding one day, I'm gonna listen.
Mhm.
I'm gonna probably be lit too when I'm listening. So it's like, but I'm here to support you in all things.
Good to know.
That's real. Yeah, we have talked about some very interesting stuff today. Mm.
My mind is over here fucked up. When she was like, damn, you just because you meet somebody, you ain't like, that ain't gotta be your man. I'm still over here shook. Like, I'm about to change my Tinder profile immediately. Like, I have some, I'm so happy this recorded. I need to go and double back to this and then like make sure I got all the notes, appropriately
Hello,
because I'm about to fuck,
revelations.
I'm about to fuck the game up. It's going down.
That is
Yo,
funny.
class today taught us some things for sure. Woo! Especially about these Aquarius people. I'm still in my feelings about that.
Well, listen, girl, I have a hitman. If you want his number, you just let me know.
Bye. Bye. On that note, Sid, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Please let our listeners know they can find you online and what's next for you and all your businesses and what you have. Like, what's going on next?
Yeah, I'm just trying to live the dream. You know what I mean? Just Instagram is driven spice. That's really it. And just out here just trying to live and enjoy every day like it's my last.
No, that's
Listen, be sure to download the Secrets of the Opposite Sex app, subscribe, like the podcast. I love watching the comments and reviews, unless you're selling out, in which case I don't love and watch comments and reviews. We'll have the extended, interviews on YouTube. Check it out. Listen, it's always been love. See y'all next week.